What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Young and Intelligent Money Investing channel. Today, I want to talk about what makes a good ETF and which S&P 500 ETF I prefer and which one I'm going to be investing more in the future. But to start out, before I get into it, I just want to thank all the new subscribers. I've been loving seeing all your guys' comments, and if you haven't commented yet, I do respond to all comments. I love engaging with you guys, the viewers, so please leave me a comment, and I'm happy to respond to it. Any questions you guys have or videos you want to see from me, I'd love to hear about it. All right, let's get into this. So the two we're going to be looking at today is SPY, which is the most common S&P 500 ETF. You guys can see here, up 0.1% on the day, up $107 or 107% in the last 5 years. As you guys can see, I've got a pretty large position in it, about a quarter of my portfolio, 24.38%, and I am up $97.67 on this, or a little bit over 10%, which is a great return, and I really love that. You guys can see I kind of put in buy orders a little bit early in May and then in the summer. I've gotten dividends from this of about $5 each. It pays out on a quarterly basis, and it's done by SPDR. The one we're going to be comparing this to is VOO, and this is the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, and I'm up $43 on this, but my position is a little bit less than half, or 9.7%. And the reason my return is a little bit less with this is because I bought in later. So the market's kind of been going up while I've been invested in the S&P 500, and since I invested later while the market was up, I'm back like a little bit on this. As you guys can see, pays out about $1.10 per share. The share price on this is a little bit cheaper, which is nice on VOO than SPY, like 245 versus 267. So if you don't have quite as much money, Vanguard could be easier to get into for you. Over the last 5 years, it's up 108.5%, and compared to SPY's 107.63, it's about an extra percent over the last 5 years. Nobody would argue with an extra percent. And the main difference between these two ETFs, they pretty much both cover the same thing. They cover the S&P 500, so it has small pieces of each company in the S&P 500, and that's really what you're buying into. The big difference is the expense ratio. Essentially what an expense ratio is the percent that the company, like SPDR or Vanguard, takes from that fund every year as their service charge. Essentially, like that's what how they make money every year, by having these ETFs. So the expense ratio for VOO is 0.04%, while the expense ratio for SPY is 0.09%. And while these are both very low expense ratios for ETFs, having less than half of that on VOO really puts it above SPY for me. Unfortunately, since I invested in SPY earlier, I want to stick with that position just so I have continuity, just so I can check like 10, 20 years down the line, and I'll look at SPY, and I'm never going to put more money in SPY. So I'll see, oh, I'm up 100%, I'm up 1,000%, probably not 1,000%, but I'll be able to kind of tell. Whereas when I add extra shares, it kind of averages up my cost. So my average cost will be higher when I add extra shares of VOO, if you guys understand what I mean by that. So for that reason, I'm only going to be adding to VOO just because that expense ratio is less than half. And while it might not seem like a lot, 0.05% or less than half of the expense ratio will really build up when it starts compounding over the years. And there's really just no reason to want to be an SPY over VOO. SPY may be the most popular S&P 500 ETF, but it also has some of the most outflows because of that high expense ratio relative to the other ones. And while VOO has really low compared to all the other ones, and I believe it's been noted as Warren Buffett's favorite S&P 500 ETF, his favorite ETF in general, because he's always suggesting VOO. And as you guys can see, they're at the top of my portfolio. They're really the benchmarks that I want to see when the market's doing well. That, along with DIA and QQQ, is really what I focus on a daily basis. And everything's been pretty good with this new tax reform bill that's kind of been pushed out, and it seems to be agreed upon. So hopefully they can get that done before New Year's, and hopefully, and I believe once that passes the House and Senate and gets signed in, it'll be a huge boost to everybody's portfolio. So hopefully that's a little Christmas present we get. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. Please leave a comment and a like on this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to put out daily videos whenever I can. I am in school right now in the heart of final season, so I'm going to be a little bit inconsistent over the next couple days, but I promise to be shooting out as many videos as I can over the coming weeks, months, and hopefully for a long time coming. Alright, thanks guys.